Good evening, everybody. We're going to start tonight's meeting. It's 6:02, and we're going to have a roll call. Tonight we have Mr. Kevin O'Neill, Ms. Luciano, Denise Luciano, Bob Kimball, and myself, Roger Marsan. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we're going to start with appointments, resignations, and retirements. So appointment of a full-time Human Services and Council on Aging Director. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you. I would invite Ruth from the Council on Aging to maybe share a few words with us. We have a new appointment that we're very excited about. Saucy, many people already know Saucy, but we'll just, if it's okay, we'll just share a few words.
Good evening, Town Manager and our Board of Select Board. Oh, all right. Sorry.
Right down a foot.
My name is Ruth Snyder, and I am Chairperson of the Council of Aging, and I am very happy to be here to introduce our new Assistant Director, Human Service Person, Saucy. Don't ask me to pronounce her last name, because I never can do it correctly. She has been with us for 6 years. She goes over and above her call of duty. We work well with her, and I'm very happy to have her. I'd like to introduce Saucy. Come on,
Come on up,
Saucy.
Saucy.
I've been to one of these before. It was in an old building. Hello. Say a few words?
Yes, you
Sure.
can speak.
I have to put it
You
up.
can put it up.
I know. Thank you. Well, I'm very excited to be continuing to work at the Norton Senior Center in an expanded role. This is a big step for the town, I think, in hiring somebody else to be full-time working over at the center. As you all know, we're in a new building. We've been there for almost a year. It's been very exciting, very wonderful, but also a challenge. We have just exploded. We've had close to 1,000 new registrations that have come in this past year, and we are excited to be able to offer education programs, social programs, fitness, wellness, just lots of activities. I think the center's been very well received, but we're human services too, and we do a lot of work. And that's where we've seen also an explosion of need, people that need help with heating assistance, food assistance. The number of people who have come in who have had eviction notices lately has been rising. So there's a big need, and so I'm thankful for the town to have seen the need and that we need another position over there. So in closing, I'm very excited. This is going to be a good thing. Then I welcome the town manager. You've been over, but I've welcomed the select board as well to come over, come see what we do, come see what we do and what happens in a day over at the senior center. All right. Thanks. That's it.
Thanks. Anything from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Kimball.
Saucy, could you give us a little bit background of what your background is?
Oh, sure. Wow. Well, I'm old, so there's a lot of background.
Hey,
I'm a Massachusetts resident. I live presently in Mansfield. I did live in Norton for 5 years back about 20 years ago. But I'm from the area, Massachusetts born. I have went to Dover Sherburne High School. I went to University of Rhode Island. I have an engineering degree. I worked in the engineering field for 10 years and then stayed home to raise my family. And then jumped back into human services. I worked over at an assisted living for a while, part-time, mother's hours, and kind of built my way back up into a different field than engineering, but a field that I kind of always had a desire to be in, which was to help people and to I don't know, I think the engineering part is good because I like to be organized, and keep things on track. Maybe a little more, too much so, but yeah. And so I'm just excited to be at the center. I just feel like I'm making a difference in people's lives, and that's really a good place to be. So
Thank you.
That's it.
One more question. Mr. Gould, it's a new position we have now, so have we fabricated, do we have a job description for it?
Yes, we do. And this was actually held, there was a robust process involving the interim town manager. Ruth was involved in, and there was a third, it escapes me now. Beth, who couldn't be here tonight. She's on vacation this week. But there is a job description, and we will be reviewing that within the first few weeks and months to make sure it fits the appropriate responsibilities over there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Just thank you very much.
Saucy, I'd just like to say that the work that you and Beth and Ruth and all of the volunteers and the people who work over there is so needed in our community. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything that you folks do over there. The facility is an amazing facility, and you folks being able to help the amount of people that you help is amazing. And nobody knows the stuff that you do when nobody's looking. So I really appreciate everything that you do. So thank you very much, Saucy.
Appreciate the comment.
And Ruth, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I hereby notify the Select Board in accordance with the provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter, acting in my capacity as appointing authority, I have appointed the following individual as Assistant Human Services / Council on Aging Director. Saucy, I apologize if I give it a try. Saucy Megadishan.
Amazing.
That appointment was made on September 23rd, 2025, in accordance with the provisions of the Norton Charter, and will be effective October 8th, 2025, unless the Select Board votes to accept or reject the appointment prior to that date. Mr. Chairman, make a motion that we
Mr. Kimball.
appoint Saucy Medjidishan to the Assistant Human Services / Council on Aging Director.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Welcome aboard, Saucy. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, Mr. Town Manager, we now have a couple of resignations we have to deal with. Resignation of Ken Dowling from the Planning Board. Do you have any insight about that?
We received notice, written notice about a week ago that he was voluntarily resigning. He did not give a reason. I would publicly like to thank him for his service on the planning board. We appreciate all of our volunteers.
Any comment?
I would just add to that, it would be nice if we sent a letter of appreciation to him, thanking him on behalf of the board.
I myself know Ken, and I know that his heart was in it. I'm not exactly sure why he wasn't able to fulfill the responsibilities of that position, but I really thank him for stepping forward and running for that position. So thank you. The other one we have is a resignation of Sharon Rice from the Norton Cultural Council. Do you have any information about that other than the letter we see?
Not specifically. We just received the letter notifying us, and also would like to thank her for her time and service to the town. It's truly appreciated.
Yeah, I agree. Similarly, you can use a letter to her thanking her for her time volunteering on the committee as well.
And I would also say that if anybody is interested in any of these positions, they could also contact the town, and we'd be happy to consider them for any of these positions that are open on the town boards or committees.
I was going to say there's many more as well. Yeah, other boards. Yep.
Mr. Chair, particularly the planning board, it's very critical that they have special permits required a supermajority approval, 5 out of 7, but members have to vote in the affirmative for special permits to pass and move forward. And with only 6 members on the board now, if somebody misses the public discussion and can't vote on any particular special permit, all it takes is one person to reject it. So it's very critical But that planning board have a full seven-member board. So I guess, Mr. Town Manager, if there's anything we can do to provide more advertising maybe for that particular position. And I know that Paul probably agrees.
I do know we have received one applicant so far, at least one.
Great.
So
Oh,
we'll,
good.
we'll get that to the board for approval. I understand it's a joint approval of the select and planning board.
Yes. And it's only until the next election. So anyone who wants to give it a try for 8 months or whatnot, they'll have to run again in April. But it's a good opportunity for people that test the waters to see if they want to stay on it permanently.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the approval of minutes for August 14th.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of August 14th, 2025 as written.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Next, we have license and permits. Vote to approve the special permit for the parade permit for the Veterans Day Parade from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Tuesday, November 11th. Mr. Town Manager, anything other than what we see?
So the same event we do every year, the same route, same day, same time. VFW in conjunction with the Veterans Office and Estelle. I thought I saw her earlier.
Estelle was here. Yeah.
She coordinates all the details. All the sign-offs have been approved, so everything's ready for the select board's approval.
Thank you.
Did you say Tuesday the 11th?
What does it say on here?
November 11th.
November 11th.
We have to recognize it on the actual day,
Okay.
November 11th.
Yep, so it'll be on Tuesday, November 11th. We celebrate the Veterans Day on the November 11th every year.
All right. Thanks. Just wanted to check my calendar.
I'm looking for a motion.
Make a motion to accept the special event parade permit application for Veterans Day Parade scheduled from 10 a.m. till noon on Tuesday, November 11th, 2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a one-day beer and wine license to Dennis De Silva. Are you Dennis? Come on up, Dennis.
Hello.
Hi. So you want to explain what your
Yeah, so
Quest is for.
Wheaton College is doing a fall fest. So it is a beer tent that we're doing that's serving beer. It's 800 people. I believe it's from 12 to 4 or something like that. I'm not sure.
it says 12 to 3?
Yeah, 12 to 3. On the 4th of October.
Is this a new event for you?
No. Oh, for me it is. I'm new to the college. But,
Okay.
they have been doing it for a few years now.
Has been doing
Yeah.
it for quite a while.
And do you have anything else?
I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer one correction. I know it's going to have nothing to do with the permit, but on the, Mr. Gould, on the third page, the name of alcohol wholesaler, the new name of that company, Horizon's been sold.
Oh, okay.
So the new company is Southern Glazers and Wine and Spirits. I would just make a correction on the form, just so it's on the third page in. It's on the name of alcohol wholesaler.
Okay.
It used to be Horizon Beverage. They were working out of the same place. It's just a new name for
Okay. I'll change it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, it appears
Mr.
that
O'Neill.
the Deputy Chief Robbins asked for some information. As such, the fire department and the police department have not signed off on it yet.
It doesn't
know
say
if-
completed, it says active.
That's right.
So I can speak to that,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
So
Mr. Gould?
they did receive the requisite sign-offs for the Dimple location on campus, but the Rain location The fire department and the building department have not had time to inspect. They just received the completed application on Tuesday. So they had not yet approved the Rain location, but the Dimple location is a go.
Okay.
Subject to the board.
So what we've done in the past, I think, is approved it pending approval from those.
Mrs. De Silva, do you have is there a Rain location for this that you're looking for a permit for as well?
There is. We submitted it late, but we did.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we vote to approve the application for a one-day beer and wine license to Dennis De Silva on behalf of Wheaton College for a private event in the Dimple at Wheaton College located at 26 East Main Street, Norton, Massachusetts, 02766 from 12 noon to 3 p.m. on Saturday, October 4, 2025 for its Fall Fest celebration, subject to final approval from Police and Fire Department.
Second.
Motion and a second. And does that include the Rain location as well, which will be inside, I'm assuming, someplace right around that area?
Correct.
So,
That would be included.
okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Announcements. Mr. Kimball.
Let's see. I got a couple of new ones. There will be a joint meeting with the Finance Committee, Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday, September 30th. That's next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. at the Norton Town Hall Crane Meeting Room, which is this one. It's to discuss the fall annual town meeting warrant articles, the zoning bylaw update, including reorganization and making text changes. So that's next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Fall annual town meeting will be held on Monday, October 20th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Norton High School. Warrant articles will be accepted until 3:30 p.m. on August 28th, which has already gone by, so that's enough of that. From Melissa Niziewicz from Park and Rec, she's reminding us that the Halloween parade will be held on Sunday, October 26th at 12 noon. Registration is now open. The deadline is October 10th. And commemorative T-shirts, there will be new commemorative T-shirts for the parade, designed by Norton's senior Jonah Ferraro. And they're available for pre-sale only, purchase online through the Park and Rec website. There's a Halloween costume exchange drop-off program now going on until September 30th, which there's a collection box here at the front entrance at the town hall. If you'd like to drop some off. There's going to be new to you. There's going to be from that collection, there'll be a new to you tonight, which will be held on October 7th and 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. here in the Crane Room. So if you can drop off a costume until September 30th in the bin out in the hallway, and then you can come back on the 7th and 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. to pick one up if you desire to do so. There's a CPR AED class being held on Thursday, October 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Nelson Community Center. There's a babysitting 101 class. I think the chairman should take this one. Saturday, October 4th from 9 to 1 p.m. at the Nelson Community Center. And then the 25 to 30 basketball pickup league for women over 25 group is still making registrations. Games have started already on September 9th, but there's still a few slots that are open. The men's over 30 group is still at a waiting list level, and their games will start or would have started on September 11th. The junior golf program that started last spring and is currently in its third session has 18 junior golf participating now at the Norton Country Club. And I think you can learn the skate program has 4 skaters running at the Taunton Alexio rink starting this weekend. And I think that's all I have. Anything?
I have one other announcement. The annual DeFossis Peterson Memorial Food Drive will be on November 1st from 12 to 3 p.m. at the senior center at the food deposit. We are also looking for neighborhood representatives, anybody interested in helping out, that they can go in the neighborhood and pass out bags with flyers in them the week before the food drive, and then come back the day of the food drive and put the food out, and they'll come pick it up and bring it over to the Nelson Center. Anybody interested in helping out with any of this, there'll be a meeting on October 1st at 5:30 at the VFW here in Norton. You can come by and you can learn more about it or collect bags for your neighborhood if you'd like. New business. Anybody have any new business that they'd like to discuss tonight? Okay, let's get on to the fun part of the meeting. Old business, the fall annual town meeting, list of warrants and a list of articles and warrant.
So how would
Mr.
the
Town Manager,
chair
if
like-
you'd like to, if we could go down these and the ones that you think that we could take action on, I would like to take action on tonight so that we could whittle this list down some, so that we don't have so many to deal with at our last meeting before town meeting. So if you want to go down these and see something that you think we can take action on.
Excellent. So there are a few that I'll ask us to maybe hold off until the last meeting. We have one more board meeting before the town meeting. So number one, I think this is a straightforward one, unpaid bills in the amount of $22,627.31. Essentially, these are bills that were incurred last year, but we didn't receive the bill until after the end of the fiscal year. So we're asking to pay that from free cash. Happy to answer any questions on this one.
Yeah, through you, Chair.
Mr.
Would
Luciano.
the money not have still been budgeted and put aside from the last budget cycle for those unpaid bills?
Yes, the money was available at the time. It just wasn't paid. So after the 15 days into the new fiscal year, so after July 15th, we're not allowed to use that money. And on June 30th, the money's frozen until free cash is certified.
Okay.
So now that free cash is available, that's where.
Thank you. I appreciate the explanation.
Chairman, I make a motion we support Article Number 1, unpaid bills, for the amount of $22,627.31.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I would prefer, Mr. Chair, to skip over 2, 3, 4 and 5 are just placeholders. Hopefully we won't need them. It's just in case there's, heaven forbid, a broken pipe we didn't budget for or something, but hopefully water and sewer will be okay. Same with capital improvements. I'd ask us to hold off on 6, 7, 8. We'd actually like to withdraw the engineering study placeholder. And I'm ready to speak on Barrows Court.
Please.
So we received an estimate from Highway. I actually conducted a site visit there, spoke at length with Jared, our supervisor, and John in Conservation. We came to the conclusion that the most economical, the most way that makes sense is for Highway to go in and try to make a quick fix within this year's operating budget. So asking for no money for the quick fix. This has been done before, where he would dig the pipe out, flush the pipe through, place the pipe back in at minimal burden to the homeowner. And if that doesn't work, we'd like to have the funds ready to take care of the Barrows Court issue by replacing a 220-foot line. And for that, we have Jared estimates We have a breakdown. I can share that with you. It's $50,000, and that includes approximate 10% contingency, and that's for materials and labor. If the 10 to 20 foot pipe fix doesn't work, then we would do the 220 foot pipe fix. And hopefully you don't have too many technical questions because they're not here with me.
I was
Mr.
able,
Kimball.
I was able to go to that also, and I just,
That's right.
I want to let everyone know that, and I'm familiar with this because it happened to me. There's about 20 to 30 feet of pipe, and they came in with a camera from both directions, but they couldn't get through it. So they don't know if it's crushed or if it's the roots have grown into it or what's going on. So the easy fix and the least costly fix is to take that section of pipe out and replace it. And he's going to be able to do that in the right of way that the town already has. So we don't have to have any easements or any of that stuff. That's the easy fix. And that's what this $50,000 being set aside. If we decide that's not going to work and it needs to have an additional work done at the 220 feet, it will have to be reinstalled. But it would maybe have a different pitch to it, and it would have to be totally engineered, and everything would have to be done from the get-go. So it would be a lot more of a costly project. So Jared's hoping that this one project, the one fix, might be enough to fix it. I do have a question, Mr. Town Manager. Have you heard anything about that place today? Anything going on down there with all this rain?
No news is good news, right?
Right, I haven't heard a word.
I will just add that we are avoiding. The engineers said they'd come in and take a look at it for $350,000.
Yeah.
Ms. Luciano.
Just wanted clarification. The 50,000 is if we needed the 250 feet. The current, whatever 20 feet, whatever it is covered under our current existing budget. And has that already been dug out or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But he would try to do that in the fall, and then if that doesn't work, the longer fix would be in the spring before town meeting. So it makes sense to have that set aside just in case.
One more question. I think we had some studies done before, or someone came out to look at it before, an outside organization. Are we confident that the 250 feet would solve the problem that has been identified? The root cause?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kimball, I think he was 80% confident. Was that?
The 20% factor that he's not talking about is there's a very large pipe that goes from a drain on Barrows Court into a ravine that flows toward the river. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to dig that down a bit. They've got permission to do so they can drop that down a bit to get the flow going. But then it hits a certain point where on private property beyond it, it hits two other pipes. And at that point it stops, or it stops, it kind of gets dammed up at that point. So the $50,000 that we're asking for could be the next step. Like we go in there and we take those pipes and we make them either larger so that we have to get permission from the property owner to redesign it and continue to flow down to the river. But right now it's being hung up on the private property side of it. So the $50,000 will be to replace some of the pipe, also some digging, and perhaps even putting in another section of pipe further back near the private property so that the water continues to flow. From what I understand is the water comes down the street, it goes to the 220 feet of pipe, and then it stops. It's got no place to go. And the pipe is full. The water's gushing out, but it's gushing out above the exit of the pipe. So they're trying to figure out a way to get that water away from that end of it the best they can. That $50,000 it's kind of a placeholder too, because if he does dig up the 20 to 30 feet and they run into bigger problems, he may end up having to replace the whole 220 feet. Once he gets in there, he may find other problems that we have no idea, what he's going to run into. So $50,000 will be earmarked for that project. And if it's not used, then it goes back to the general fund.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Gould.
if I may, sorry not to belabor this.
No,
but
you're fine.
The 220 feet has been engineered. So if it does come to the $50,000 fix, he would replace the pipe at the exact same slope that it was engineered for.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
That's all I had.
Chairman, I make a motion, we support Article 8, the Barrels Court drainage system improvement for $50,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have 2 easements heading out to the Canoe River on either side of my property. Now I understand why they're easements.
Right.
Right, because the town needs to have access to those if something like this were to happen.
They may come digging someday.
Yes, exactly.
Mr. Town Manager.
Excellent, thank you. Moving to the next item is engineering for PFAS treatment and other water quality process improvements. This is due to an administrative consent order. Essentially, there's new regulations at the state level, at the federal level, they're telling us that there's new requirements we need to meet. So this would pay for initial engineering to continue the testing that we're already doing, to make plans to clean that. And sewer supervisor is here if you have any.
Frank, you want to come up
Questions?
and speak to this if you could, please?
Good evening, everybody. So we're asking for basically the first phase of this, $445,000. The breakdown of it is primarily an investigation of 3 of our largest wells. PFAS treatment that is not currently required but will soon be, which is the change in the level of detection. Currently, the federal government has it at 20 parts. It's going to more than likely go down to 4. Even if the federal government doesn't move it, Mass DEP has indicated that their goal is to move it to 4 with an action level recommendation of 0. So that requires modifications to the current treatment facility that we currently have to meet those stringent requirements, and also looking at our other 2 wells which are untreated currently, looking at everything that needs to be done there, starting off with iron and manganese removal prior to a PFAS removal system. So there's about 7 different options that we have that were listed in the ACO from Mass DEP that we have to comply with. Basically, we have to check off all the boxes, anything that was listed as a recommendation as to why we don't feel it's a good option for the town. Everything from purchasing water from another location, which would require infrastructure improvements to bring the water from A to B, purchasing water from another application that requires a treatment facility, which wouldn't make any sense if we have to do that on our own property as well, and intermunicipal connections with properties that we are already in agreements with, like the town of Mansfield and the town of Attleboro. So there's quite a bit of moving parts to all of this, even just to check off the boxes for items that we know we're not going to select as part of the ACO.
Mr. Kimball.
Frank, the first question I have is waste treatment plant, water treatment plant we have now. Will that handle this, or do we have to modify the existing plant?
It is currently handling and staying below the 20 MCL right now. If it does lower to 4 or anywhere similar to that, we'll be right on the border of having an impact. When this treatment facility was built, regulations were different. The testing standards for PFAS were different. We actually tested at all 3 wells feeding this facility as non-detect. When we went through COVID, the new facility went online. The requirements changed. They're more stringent now. Thankfully, knock on wood, like I said, we haven't exceeded at that location. We've only exceeded at 1 well in town, and we only exceeded there by 1 part per trillion. But it still triggers the requirement to put in a removal process plant at that location. We're looking at options for either abandoning those 2 smaller well sites altogether and purchasing water as a permanent solution. Cost effectiveness is something that we're really looking at here, and long-term effectiveness. Knowing that this is probably the first step in many steps of emerging contaminants that we're going to see regulated that may not currently be regulated now. We want to see if we can project and look a little bit further into the future than Norton typically does. So you're going to see some pretty big numbers coming down as this ACO starts getting closer to the enforcement levels. This is the first step, and we have some meetings set up with some of the adjacent communities to see if they're interested or capable of selling us water either in the short term while this operation is going to take place, because we'd have to take ours offline, or even long term as an alternative to having to treat all 5 locations.
So my question would be if, obviously we'd have to build more water treatment plants. And the last one we built was around $10 million, as I recall.
Pretty close to 11, but yeah.
Probably a lot more today than it was then,
Yes, it
I
would.
would assume. So I know you're concerned about the capital cost, but the capital costs are borne upon the users of the water, anyway.
Correct.
So I would encourage you and your board to look at the possibility of connecting to another water source beyond our borders that makes sense to us, because my understanding is we have a couple of neighbors that have no problem with PFAB, and they have plenty of water. So if we can negotiate a deal, I understand the rate is going to go up, but the rate is going to go up anyway because you're going to have to pay for the capital in addition to the flow.
Absolutely.
So if we were to be fortunate enough to have a neighbor who's willing to work with us, before we start spending tens of millions of dollars on treatment plants, we probably should be trying to exercise that possibility first. And if that doesn't work, then yeah, we have to go back and bite the bullet.
Absolutely.
But when you build a second plant, it takes more manpower, more maintenance, more filters. It takes a lot of stuff to run it, and so yeah, I would encourage you to do so. This $445,000 you're talking about, this is just going into a pot to start the process.
This is a starting phase, pilot phase, if you would, looking at all of the options as required by the ACO. We have to provide Mass DEP with answers to the suggestions that they had submitted as part of that, and this will get us to the next step. Part of this, as I had mentioned, is looking and having discussions with surrounding communities. Norton uses a significant amount of water. On an average day like today with the rainfall, we're still at 1.1 to 1.2 million gallons per day. During the summer, when we had the 5 heat waves, it was easy 1.7, 1.8. If we're going to continue to grow and expand, we definitely need to have the capacity available to do so before having to look at other options. So having maybe even more than one connection with surrounding communities might be an option to look at, even though it's not something we're directly looking at right now, because it adds another layer of the requirements for sampling to have combined systems. So we're definitely addressing everything, speaking with Mr. Gould, and looking at options for connections.
Okay, and my final comment is, before people up there at their heads start spinning, this is an enterprise account.
Correct.
This does not come off, this has nothing to do with our taxes,
Exactly.
our internal taxes, local taxes. And this enterprise account has money in it that can handle this type of expenditure. So it's not like we have to borrow or anything. The money is already there. And it's, the $445,000 is actually paid by the users, the people that use the water.
Absolutely.
So I think that's important to put out there so people aren't saying, where's this money going to come from? So thank you, Frank.
Mr. Gould, you had something you want to add?
I'll just echo that we are looking at all options to keep the costs to the ratepayers, not the taxpayers, the ratepayers as low as possible while complying with all regulations. And I will note that this request is not from free cash; it's from retained earnings. So the warrant article would be to transfer $445,000 from retained earnings to this purpose.
From the water and sewer accounts you're talking about, yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I
Mr.
just
O'Neill.
wanted to mention, and maybe Frank has more background on this. There was an article that came out in the Sun Chronicle just a few days ago about this very topic. State legislation could help offset costs for municipalities' water infrastructure needs, including PFAS mitigation. I think some of this, it speaks to a federal $1 billion grant. I don't know how much trickles down to us, but then there's also a bill that's at the state level to provide municipalities with the option to have some kind of I don't know what they call it, a surcharge or something on the water rates. I'm not quite sure, Frank, and then it mentions all of the other towns in the area that have problems with PFAS. And by the way, this level of 20 down to 4, it affects everybody. Norton is not alone at all with this issue. It's throughout the whole state. When I first got elected, we had a meeting of new members of the select board, and it was a topic then among 200 other folks around the Commonwealth. So just want people to realize that this isn't, we always have complaints about waters, the discoloration in Norton, but this is kind of somewhat unrelated. They're lowering the standards for us. But I would encourage everybody to go into the Sun Chronicle, try to find that article. It was originally published on the 20th. It was revised on the 24th online. So are you familiar with it?
I am very familiar with it. We applied for 2 grants. One of them we were denied for the for initial PFAS grant that we applied for. We are working on a second grant now. It will be basically for water quality and emerging contaminants. So there's definitely some documents we have to submit to make sure that we are eligible, but we did submit a needs request, and we are on the list of possibly to be approved. Although that number sounds huge, when you think of it's not just Massachusetts, it's nationwide. So it's going to go pretty fast, any monies that are available. So we hope to see funding continue on the federal level.
I saw an article today about 3M being taking a task over it also. So there'll be some additional funds coming down the pike later on.
So I would just like to say that I appreciate all the effort that you're putting into this, and this is a huge step for everybody to take to try to come in compliance with this. And I know you already are, but my suggestion would be that instead of us continuing to chase the ball, if we try to get in front of it, you try to figure out what is the next step going to be so that we can be there already, and so that we don't have to continue to spend money after money after money to try to catch up to where we should be.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate all the efforts that you put into this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Entertain a motion to,
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to support the engineering, planning, piloting, design, and permitting for treatment facility upgrades and PFAS treatment, contaminant remediation, and other water quality process improvements at all water sources, treatment facilities, and appendices for $445,000, which will be coming out of the enterprise account.
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, next we have, maybe we'll skip over the building project at the school until next time, if that's, and then we'll address GASB number 13, mandated actuarial reporting. So this recommendation is 11,000 from free cash to pay for the state requires an annual actuary to perform an analysis on the OPEB funds to make sure that we're taking care of our retirees and adequately planning for their healthcare costs. So this is to annually evaluate this as is required.
Any questions?
Oh, seems pretty straightforward. Seems pretty straightforward.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion that we support Article 13, the GASB mandated actuarial reporting of the post-employment benefits
Second.
for $11,000.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Chair,
Yes.
did we skip over number 10? I know we have.
Oh, we did. My
Ms.
mistake.
Frank, may you still be here for that reason?
I think that there were people here waiting for that. I didn't know if you were,
Apologies, that was unintentional. We can,
Oh, no problem.
okay.
address that now if the
I
chair
would wait a bit
wishes.
longer.
Sorry, Frank. So number 10 is the Elm Street property. So this is a grant that we're looking to receive 3.5 million from the state, and we would use it for water. I know it was previously contemplated to be used for sewer. That didn't work out, and now we're looking to use it for water. I think Frank can speak to the necessity of that grant, and I thought our planner was here, but I don't see him anymore.
He just stepped out. He'll be right back, I'm sure. By the time Frank's done, he'll be back, I'm sure.
I don't know about that. All right, so as everybody's probably well aware, we've had the Elm Street article before town meeting a few different times, before multiple boards. To lose the $3.5 million is a huge hit to the town, as it is to our departments. There is still a very slim chance, and I think Paul will speak to this shortly, that there's something could still be built at the Reed and Barton property, cleaning up the site, still creating housing and jobs, which is the reason why we applied for and received the grant in the first place. We've had multiple meetings with EPA, and they are willing to bend the scope of the original grant, and it would cover water main improvements in the area because it was originally listed as part of the improvements required for that property. The plan that's going to be presented at some point from the applicant no longer includes the need for a sewer main down this road. So they would be able to design what they're going to build, and it would go to a septic system. It doesn't improve the water, so that's what we're addressing here with this article. This can be looked at two different ways. The water main needs to be improved here based on EPA regulations for unknown service lines. So everybody's probably well aware of Flint, Michigan. Water quality issues everything stems from that issue that happened in Flint. EPA required all water suppliers to make a list of all their water service line materials. If you don't have documentation, whether it be from maps, previous plans, or even field surveys, if you went out and replaced and repaired a leak and took a picture of it, that would suffice. Unfortunately, in many of our older streets, like Elm Street, it's probably one of the older areas in town. I believe one of the houses dates back to 1830. We have no plans on it. We've been down there multiple times. We've repaired multiple breaks, multiple leaks on homeowner services, even though it's on the town side. And we know for a fact that there are iron pipe services going to the homes here, which indicates it meets the criteria, and it was put in around the same time that what's called a lead gooseneck would have been installed. So there's a cast iron main and an AC main down this street, multiple different sizes, different sections. The lead services gooseneck is about 1.5 foot piece of flexible tubing, which is used to transition to two rigid surfaces. So you have the iron pipe service and you have the cast iron main. Neither one move. You need the flexibility somewhere, or else you're going to have a break. This was very common, and in some communities they actually used complete lead services from the main to the house because they were so worried about movement in the earth. Norton, thankfully, knock on wood, we've never found any of those, but those small sections still remain. I myself, in my 25 years, have had to have replaced 40 or 50 of those. Other previous operators before me, same thing, but there's no record of it. That's not good enough to just say, hey, I did this one. I was here in 2010. EPA won't listen to it. So they give you an option to verify the service line material by excavating that each service line in 3 different locations at the main and on either side of the curb stop, taking pictures, submitting it to them, they'll approve or deny it, and then it goes onto the list. That doesn't solve any problems. It's best to implicate the road based on age and based on knowledge from historical data, being me. It needs to be replaced. So that's why we're going forward with this. It is attached to the grant because we wanted to have that in there as a potential funding source, as a last-ditch effort, that if something does work its way through, we can use this 3.5 to pay for that improvement and not burden the ratepayers. There's nothing funny being done here. It says appurtenance is in there. That doesn't mean anything related to sewer. It's all water-related improvements that are being done, projected as part of this article.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kimball.
We have, for years we've been talking about this, and we've got a lot of streets that we have no idea what's under them.
Yes.
And the record keeping was pretty sloppy in the past, there's no doubt about it. What's unique about this is, well, first of all, people are going to say, wow, you told me we'd lose that $3.5 million if we didn't do both projects. This sounds like they may bend the rules a bit, and I hope they do, because if we can get a stretch of pipe replaced, old stretch of pipe replaced and updated, it's definitely something we need to do. And if we have somebody else pay for it, that's even better. The other factor is the Elm Street property. Something's going to happen there eventually. Mm-hmm. And I would assume that whatever happens on Elm Street is going to take some additional water, and those pipes will be probably adequate enough to handle any additional building capacity we might have on that property, which is something, right now you might have pipes in the ground, but you might have 60% of it actually being used because there's bottlenecks and there's iron buildup and everything else inside these pipes. So you never know what the heck you're going to have inside them. So the water definitely is going to clear up. There's no doubt about it. And it'll be beneficial for especially people down the Grove area where that'll help clean up their water a bit. The The other fact is that if something does happen on 47 Elm, the whoever builds there is going to have not only water for portable services for uses, but also for sprinkler systems. So that requires even more water in that area. So I want to thank you and congratulate you and your board for standing up and continuing to look into this, because this is going to be a win for all of us if we can get this thing through. And if we can get the EPA and the state to agree to it and let us do it, that's even better. My final question is Miller Way. Are we going to be able to do Miller as part of this project?
It was not part of the original scope. All along, the determination was that a stub would be left, and we would actually do this work with in-house machines and employees. We have a line item that we carry each year for in-house water main improvements. Unfortunately, a lot of that goes to repairing pipes that don't want to be in the ground any longer. If we have the additional funds, we could definitely use it here and upgrade that location. There is some discussion about even possibly bringing a line and a connection back to the highway department so that there can actually be fire suppression connections behind the building, which has a limited access right now.
I would encourage you to do that. Anytime you can make a loop in the water lines, obviously it makes it's a big deal. But the people in Miller have been echoing that, some of their concerns about the quality of their water, and I'm sure their pipes are not that much newer than the ones that are in the ground. But if there's a way you can do that as part of the project, even during the project, we'll be torn up anyway.
Yep.
We might as well get it all done at the same time. That would be.
Yeah, discussions have been had if it could be rolled in as a change order.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the same scope and it's not that long of an extra distance. The water main replacement here is going to be 4,500 linear feet. The biggest improvement is going to be, as you mentioned, fire flow and placement of fire hydrants. Right now, there are 3 hydrants on that street. New code requires hydrants every 500 feet and gate valves every 1,000. So it's going to be a major improvement for fire suppression, should it be needed, unfortunately.
All right, thank you.
Through you, Chair.
Ms. Luciano.
You mentioned that you changed the scope of the grant. What was that change? And then what are the conditions to receive the grant? In other words, is there any potential that we're going to dig the roads up, replace the water mains, and they're going to say that we can't get the grant money because we didn't meet some requirement?
There is the potential that I want this article to go forward as if there was no supplemental funding being in place and that it was going to be covered by borrowing of the water department, not sewer. Should the grant fall through, as with any other article that's presented, if it has multiple funding sources, town meeting has to approve the full amount as if it was to be borne by the department it's being presented by. So there is definitely the chance that the grant could fall through because of requirements that cannot be met by the applicant of the property. So the grant is only eligible to Norton because it created jobs in housing. If a smaller build is proposed there and EPA doesn't feel it meets the bare minimum, they do not have to give us this grant. So there's definitely some moving parts that still have to fall in line. It would be foolish of us not to have this listed as a potential funding source. So that's why it's here.
And that has to be determined by when?
There is a very small window of time. We're coming up, June 2026 is the deadline. If we have a letter it escapes me.
Commitment.
Intent.
Letter of intent from the applicant, we're going to put that forward to Mass EPA and Mass DEP, letting them know that we do have somebody moving forward with that property, and all intentions have been that they will extend the deadlines.
Okay. Sorry, one last question. If we're unable to get the tenant to commit without having sewage, and it goes on the taxpayers, what would be the impact to the taxpayers for that?
It would only be on the water ratepayers, not the taxpayers.
Sorry, the water
Yeah.
ratepayers. Yeah, sorry.
We have not done a rate study review in some time. This property actually was holding up the process. Water and sewer are both overdue for a rate study. We obviously have retained earnings in there, so we're actually looking pretty good. But until a professional takes a look at it, I can't speculate as to what the impact would be. 3.5 million compared to some of the other loans that we've taken out in the past. I don't see a substantial increase coming, but this isn't the only thing that we're looking to move forward and borrow. The water quality analysis, when that moves forward into its next phases, is going to be quite large. Anything that we have to build, whether it be a new facility, that's also going to be quite a large amount to borrow. So This one article is probably not going to have a major impact. Everything combined, there's definitely going to be rate changes that will be coming at some point in the future.
All right, thanks for clarification.
Sure.
So, Mr. Chair, our state representatives, should we engage them for support on this, so they can lobby, to our cause, Feeney and those folks? I think that might be a good idea. This is where they come in handy. We can outreach to them, right? If there's,
I don't, yeah. Mr. Gould.
Without a doubt, and this is one of my main priorities, is assessing not only Elm Street, but large stretches of 123, 140, evaluating the critical areas that both water and sewer need to be, and hounding our state representatives. I've already put a bug in their ear, and I'll continue to do so.
Perfect.
Right on.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Appreciate that.
Mr. Kimball.
I think one of the qualities of this project is the fact that we have an old mill that someone's going to have to take down at some point. It's going to have to come down. Whether we do it on our own or we're ordered to do it, we're going to have to do something. So if someone shows any interest in the property, we should make every effort we can to work with that developer in a way that hopefully they can work out the details of taking down the building. We've already spent $500,000 as a town of free cash, taking down portions of that building that we had to do. We shouldn't have to spend any more. So if and when a developer comes along on 47 Elm, I would hope that the Water Sewer Commissioners would look favorably upon that and say, you know what, we just did a $3.5 million grant. Maybe we can waive some of the connection fees and all that to make it more viable, because the more money they save on that end, they can use that money for the other end of it, taking down and repurposing that property. The property's going to be a mess until we get something done there. So hopefully that'll happen. So just to be clear on the we're going to borrow $3.5 million, but if we get the grant, obviously that offsets it. If the grant doesn't go through, then the users have to pay down the debt.
Absolutely.
Either way, it's an old pipe. It has to be replaced.
Right.
So it's probably something we should be doing anyway, one way or the other.
Yeah, the concerns are that obviously with the supply chain shortages that we've seen, and now we're seeing tariffs that are added, we investigated this back in 2018 and 2019 as part of a master plan that we did for the water department. This replacement, same exact linear foot, was just over 1.9 million. So now we're looking, 3.2 to 3.5. That number of years later, it's only going to continue, to trend, unfortunately, up as products are not getting cheaper.
Mr. Chair, so which way does the water flow? Would this benefit either end of Elm Street, like Reservoir, or which way is the water
This
flow?
will improve water flow between 123 and Reservoir. Both of those mains have been renewed in previous years. This main here is a bottleneck based on different sizes that are there and different materials. It would also improve the water flow on Cross, which is another connection, major connection that goes out to North Washington Street.
Okay. I think that's worth mentioning at the town meeting, that there are other folks on either end beyond Elm Street that may benefit. Yeah. Great, thank you.
This question might be more for the town planner than for you, but are there any contingencies to this $3.5 million besides that we can just use it to put in a water main? Is there anything else that we're required to do to get it?
We actually are sitting on that grant now, and Paul can confirm that. It would have to be returned if this does not move forward and does not meet the criteria. And there has been discussion, although it's only been brought up once or twice, that the design grant money that we had received for this project, which totaled $520,000, it was broken up between two sources. A portion of that could have to be returned if this does not move forward. Nothing has been said about that after our first discussions, but definitely, just to be completely open and honest, it is there, and it is definitely something they could ask for.
Yeah, just to clarify, that was a question that I was asking too. So if there's not an apartment building with so many units that's built, then the grant is not paid to us, and some of the other prior grants will be repaid? That was the question that I was asking. Yeah.
So I guess that's the same question I have for Paul, is what are the requirements for us to use this 3.5 to put in this water main?
Well, as Frank said, we've talked with the MassWorks team, and they're okay with us now going just with water. The main thing they want is a developer and seeing that site developed. That's the biggest contingency, is having a developer sign up and commit to it.
And do we have any commitment from any developer?
Not at this time. We're still working with the same developer, Devco. We're trying to meet with her early next week and see how we can get to a commitment from her.
And a question for Frank. If we didn't have this $3.5 million grant that we may not get anyway, where would this project be in your order of importance?
Based on the age of the main and the problems that we've had there, this is the next in line. If you happen to see a copy of my master plan that I had done in 2019, this was the first main to be replaced in step 2. We had 5 mains indicated in step 1. 4 of those have been replaced so far. We actually were able to fast track South Worcester Street and East Hodges with applications and monies from ARPA. So those are being replaced, and they met the same criteria as Elm Street does based on age on South Worcester Street with iron pipe services and cast iron mains. So that was the reason why that project jumped ahead of the others in the list. But this is definitely one of the next in line.
Jim,
Ms. Kimball?
final comment. We want to be clear that water users on Elm Street are going to be reconnected to the new system.
Absolutely.
There are no betterments.
No betterments.
This is not a betterment program. You're already, unless you're reconnecting under new construction, there's not going to be any cost to any of the residents on Elm.
Correct.
So I think we need to get that out there fast and furious before the torches show up, Thank you.
And for Paul, so we don't have a developer, is what you're saying, that has given us any sign that they're going to build anything there.
Well, there's hope. I think there's still hope that that's going to happen. There are some things in play that might work, that might make this attractive to this developer or some others, another developer, but no one committed at this point.
So, and the last 2 times we brought this to town meeting, have we had any commitment from any developer?
No, we haven't.
So,
This is we've only had one development team that's taken a serious look at this site.
so my suggestion to the board would be that we hold off on taking any action on this until we meet with the planning board on Tuesday, and we could have a discussion with them. Because I'm a little concerned that people aren't clear about this $3.5 million is not necessarily coming to us unless a developer builds something there. And we have no commitment from any developer to do anything there. So I'd like to talk to the planning board more before we make this commitment that we're recommending this. And our meeting on Tuesday, we could do that, and then we could recommend it then.
Mr. Chair, this article is not sponsored by the planning board. It's sponsored by Mr. Fournier, the Water and Sewer Commission. Has the planning board had this? Have you discussed this article, this project?
No,
Okay.
you're correct. That it did not come from the planning board.
I don't think it's under the planning board's jurisdiction. I don't believe, right? It's not a zoning article or anything. Like, do you plan?
Correct. The investment in water would not fall under the planning board.
We can certainly discuss it with them, but they're not going to have any more input than we've already heard tonight.
But it's through the planning board that we would be able to get this grant. Because I think that if the planning board has come before us with this developer saying that they had a plan to build there. And if we put the sewer in, and then we said, okay, we're not going to put the sewer in. And then they said, okay, we got the same developer that's going to put a fourth main in there.
Mr. Chair, remember that Mr. Di Giuseppe has two roles, economic development, so I'm thinking that's maybe why he's involved with this, is his other hat that he wears, not the planning board, but I might be
The
wrong.
planning board took action. They made a recommendation a few years ago to rezone the site. They recommended for rezoning it from industrial to village commercial, but the planning board hasn't had, and other than that, they haven't had a role for this. But it was understood back then that there would be, a lot of contingencies from having sewer and the potential for a larger multifamily development. But that was all just part of a general discussion for the rezoning to village commercial. But that's the only role that the planning board has had. I've had, as Mr. O'Neill has mentioned, I've had a much greater role outside of the planning board with this.
Economic development, yeah.
So I guess my question would be, what's changed as far as us being able to get this 3.5 million? We've said the last two times we brought this to town meeting, we were told that if we don't act on this right now, we're going to lose the 3.5 million.
So I want to say my opinion is what's changed is we've actually decreased our likelihood of getting commitment for the property, because what was clear with Devco was if the sewer and water had gone in, they would commit to purchasing the property and building the facilities. Now they only have half of that, so hopefully the conversations go well, but I think it's less likely than it was before.
Mr. Chairman, I think in addition to what Denise is saying is, if you build it, they will come. You know what I mean? And I think we already recognize the fact that the system, the pipe we have in the ground is insufficient. It needs to be replaced. One way or the other, we got to do it. At some point, we got to do it. And if Frank, if you're telling us that this is on the next, basically the next project to be undertaken anyway, I say we go ahead with it, we build it, and hopefully they will come. Hopefully they'll see the fact that we put some infrastructure on the ground to help them. And by doing so, that's one less burden they're going to have to deal with, because if I'm buying 47 Elm and I've got a antiquated system running in front of my building, my first concern is going to be, I'm going to have to replace a part of that. If I'm going to build, I'm going to have to do something with that. And if that's off the table, then I think it becomes more desirable to make that happen. One way or the other, we're going to have to do it.
Absolutely.
So if we can throw enough out there that we can get in with the help of state reps and anyone else we can help, senators, whoever we can get, if we can get someone to come back and say, yeah, that falls kind of within the scope of what we're trying to get done, no one is ever going to touch that land unless we do some improvements in front of it. And if it has to be done anyway, we might as well do it, one way or the other, in my opinion.
Yeah. In the next 3 to 5 years, that main would have to be replaced as part of the lead service initiative. It's where it's an unknown criteria, it moves it to the top of the list. So with or without the grant, you will see me come before you multiple times until we get an approval here. Unfortunately, the more time it takes, the more chances that the amount could go up. We matched the number of the grant with the linear foot here. More than likely, we will come in under that amount and give back any remaining funds. But to make sure that there was enough in there and contingencies, we're going for the full application of 3.5, as it has to be approved that way at town meeting.
And I think everyone understands that, as you said, 1.9 million a couple of years ago.
It's
It's
a
up to
big jump.
3.2 now. If we wait the next year, it could be 4 million.
Right.
So, the sooner we get it done, it'll save us money in the long run. As you know, everything is going up, contrary to what might be said publicly. The price of everything is going up, so.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, Mr. Kimball. My concern is that when we went to town meeting, the people voted that they didn't want that apartment building built there. They didn't want that many apartments to be built there. My concern is that we're making it easier for that to happen by doing this. And I'm not saying we don't need to do it. We need to put the water main in. That's great, but it seems like we're giving whoever wants to develop that an easier road to develop something that the town has said that they don't want.
Mr. Chairman, I would agree with you on that. The only thing that I would throw out there is whatever was going to be built with storage is not going to happen.
Right.
Under Title V, under storage, whatever building goes on there is going to have to leave a very large area next to a river available for a Title V septic system. So whatever vision they had of building a skyscraper there isn't going to happen now because they don't have enough land to do it. They sold the land across the street. I know it's not a big piece of land, but I kind of always envisioned that, well, if the sewer didn't go through, that would become their Title V system. Now they're talking about building a house on. So that goes away. So I'm not as concerned about how many units are going to go up now as I was when the sewer line was going to go down there, because they could have built a 6-story structure if they wanted to. Now they can't because they don't have the capacity to handle the sewage.
If the hope is to deter apartment houses from going there, then you can count on the $3.5 million will not come our way.
So, Mr. Chair, just one last comment. I wanted to ask Mr. Fournier, the other two projects that you recently finished, East Hodges and South Worcester, we came before the town meeting, and you had an amount, I don't know what the amount was, and went to a vote, and they approved it. Take the grant out of this article. That's what will end up happening in a couple of years anyway. We'll just have a generic article with no dollar amount as far as a potential grant, just like those most recent two projects. Whatever it's going to cost, you'll just borrow it out of the water rates, and it'll go forward, and the town will probably approve it unanimously at town meeting. So don't let the $3.5 million grant disrupt what you would normally do if it wasn't on the table.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. It's not so much the grant money, it's what we're going to do, what's going to happen to that piece of property at 47 Elm. That's been the bane for the last 5 years. What are we going to do with that? And I don't know if anybody else was at town meeting, but I heard people say that they didn't want to put an apartment building there. And I understand that it's not going to be as big, but have we had any discussions about what could be built there now?
Well, we don't have any plans we didn't have any plans presented, but without sewer, you can't get as much as what she was asking, 140, 150 units. It would be much less than that. But again, without plans, we don't know. But it's going to be limited by septic, which is significantly less than a sewer system. So, I mean, the trade-off is are you willing to accept a smaller apartment complex or leave the abandoned building there? Because that's really the choice we're faced. I mean, we can continue with that, but until we know, and hopefully we'll find out more information early next week about what she thinks she could do there. But she has said it's, the proposal for 150 units that's off the table. That can't happen without sewer. But what that number is, I don't know at this point.
I think having it rezoned to village commercial instead of industrial commercial, probably in this case is a positive factor, because they could build a small light industrial facility down there that'll have an impact on the neighborhood, probably as much as a residential. But I know if somebody were going to build across the street from me, I don't want a factory or a white metal building across the street. If I got to look at something, I'd rather look at somebody else's house. And we've already decided as a town that we want to make this village commercial. So there'll be some commercial space on the project with apartments with it. But if I were going to build a spec building, industrial building on the property, it would take a lot less water capacity than apartments will. Therefore, my septic system will be small, and my building's going to be a lot bigger because of it. So I think, I hear everyone's concerned, but the big picture here is the neighbors didn't want sewage, but they didn't want a lot of construction going on Elm Street. And I agree with that. Here's an opportunity to make some improvements and get that mess cleaned up once and for all, and hopefully encourage the state, DEP, or whoever, to give us the money to help us pay for that. And I'm willing to take that bet because of that. I think we have to do something.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Have we reached out to any of our legislatures for assistance on this?
They've helped us in the past, not recently. They've supported every grant application we've submitted.
I was going to say, what we keep talking about reaching out to the legislators. What are we hoping that they're going to do? The grant has already been awarded. What are we hoping that they're going to step in and do at this point?
They don't take it back?
They're gonna.
Yeah, if
Well,
they don't, if they don't do anything, they're gone.
Mr.
Well,
Chair,
we've been told that for the last, at least 2 town meetings, that they're gonna take it back if we don't pass this.
So the purpose of the grant was specifically to enhance infrastructure for apartments, for housing. That was the purpose of the grant. So when we applied to it, we knew what we were getting into. It wasn't like it was fuzzy to us what we were applying for, or that they were fuzzy in what we were giving them. We're very clear that the grant is to improve that for apartment buildings. And so if we're not going to build apartment buildings, nothing that the senators or the representatives are going to be able to step in and be able to change about that.
My point is that we've never had the only one developer say what they're gonna build. They won't give us any information, and they're not willing to give us a letter of intent or anything as to what and the number of units they're gonna build.
So again, I will refresh everyone's memory. They were willing to do that if we had passed at the last town meeting the water and sewer. We did not pass the water and sewer, which is why we did not get a letter of intent. And so that was quite clear again going into that meeting. And I'm not a builder, but I can tell you I wouldn't commit to a project like that unless I knew I was going to have the infrastructure for it either.
And I'm encouraged that there's still a conversation going on. And they haven't walked away. They're still talking about it.
Yeah. But if our hope is that we don't want them to come here at all, then we should be assuming that we're going to be paying that $3.5 million out of our own budget, which is fine if that's as long as that we have our glasses on and we understand that that's what we're agreeing to.
We're not guaranteed that we're not gonna be paying that now.
I understand that because we need to have someone that's going to build apartments there. That's the contingent part.
And Mr. Chairman, Mr. Fournier had indicated at the beginning of his discussion that he intentionally didn't put that in the article, contingent upon a $3.5 million grant on purpose. Because this would move forward without the grant, like we've been talking about.
Right.
Like it's next in line.
Right.
And I know the town's going to approve it as long as it doesn't, result in an override, which it won't. So I think we should let the town decide. And if there is any kind of concern about the size of the development, they can bring it up at the town meeting floor. But I think there were other aspects of this as well. I think a lot of the people in the neighborhood didn't want the betterment fees for sewer. They didn't want the huge development, of course, like we're talking about. So, if they get the same presentation at a town meeting as we just did, then I think this will pass very easily. And I don't think unless we feel strongly, I don't think we should get in the way of that. I don't know what the finance committee is going to do, but I'm certainly in support of this article.
Mr. Town Manager, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting this potential developer. I'm hopeful that a meeting will be scheduled Monday, and I will try to make that happen the best of my ability. If that doesn't happen, I'll pound the pavement, try to get someone else. It's not a good look if we are asking for more money to do more lines and we're not using the money they're giving us. So we'll try to make it happen as best we can.
I'd entertain a motion.
Okay, just one more thing. So the state we're sitting on the grant right now. The state hasn't asked for it back yet. So that tells me something,
We have
right?
until June 2026.
Right. So that tells me something. They could have asked for it back the day after the vote.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we support Article 10.
A second?
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
1 no.
3-1.
I didn't. Who said no?
I did.
The
Oh,
chair.
okay. I didn't hear it.
Okay. So moving on to the next one is number 14 with the chair's permission.
I'm sorry, did you want to not deal with number 12?
Thank you, Frank.
Oh, did I miss 12? Oh, yes, I was. If you want me to,
No, that's
I
fine,
don't
if you're
have
gonna,
anything to add. I think school's going to make a presentation to finance committee on Monday, so maybe it'd be better if we address
Okay.
that afterward. If
that's fine.
Yep.
so, number 14, this was addressed at finance committee on Monday. There was concern about would this start this fiscal year or next fiscal year. We reviewed it with our lawyers, and next fiscal year was the legal conclusion. So there's really no issue with moving forward with putting this to the voters at town meeting if they would like to adopt the senior exemption, or sorry, the doubling exemption, which is the first one, and the reducing the age from 70 to 65, which is the second one, number 15. Overall, it would be approximately $120,000 impact, the first one, the doubling, and approximately the $20,000 impact for reducing the senior age. Now that's just estimated numbers. It's based on the number of actual people that apply, which the assessor estimates each year, goes into the overlay account, and is budgeted for. So we don't know what the real numbers would be if we accept these two laws.
Any discussion?
One discussion, when you present this at the town meeting or if the finance committee, or maybe you can speak after the finance committee moves it, explain, some people may read exemption and think that they're getting a complete waiver off their taxes instead of the 1,200 or the 200 or whatever the amounts are. And also, as far as the veterans, it's for disabled veterans, which is really the major dollar item there. So that's a big difference. If you're a veteran and you're disabled, that's important for people to know that that's what they're voting for. And the 70 to 65, again, that you can speak to that dollar amount. I forget exactly what it is. It might only be a couple $100 or $400 or $500, but
Right. Well, it's like $350, something.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to that, but
that's right,
it's
which
around
is a
there.
fraction of what their annual tax bill is. So it's not a waiver, it's not 100% exemption. So I think it's important for people. It's not in the language of the article, but it's good for background information if you can speak to it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. In
Ms.
addition to that, I think we need to make sure people understand that Bob Kimball is not going to get a discount. It's going to be based on income. And it's going to be for the lower income brackets that this program will be offered to, not to just everyone in town. It's just going to be limited to a certain amount of people that live in town that are trying to hold on to their homes and, living day by day, but at least they got some relief on their taxes, and it's an opportunity for them to stay where they are. So I think that has to be stressed also. But this isn't for everybody. This is just for a key group of people in Norton.
The only other thing that I will reiterate, which we've had this discussion at length at prior meetings, but I am in favor of helping out our elderly and veterans. My concern and my position is that I feel like we should have done a stepped approach versus just straight up doubling. I felt like we should have done 50% instead, and I still feel the same way. Just to see how it rolls out before we just go all in for the most and the maximum.
Well, the board has already voted. You can certainly, as a citizen, make that comment at town meeting and,
Yeah, I don't know that I need to, but I think it's already been
yeah.
painted what people think of me.
I'd entertain a motion for
Chairman, I'll make a motion
Article
that we
14.
support Article 14.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that
Hang
we
on.
No.
3-1.
Make me change my thing again.
3-1.
It still passed.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we support Article 15.
Second.
Did you say split? Oh,
Support, yeah. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
no.
3-1.
Mr. Chair, next item number 16, WPAT administrative costs. This is a request to transfer funds from the WPAT reserve account, which is grant funded, to assist those unable to afford septic systems, to create a revolving account there, and low income folks are able to borrow money from that account and pay it back at a nominal interest rate, and this is used to supplement the administrative costs associated with the conservation assistant who administers the cost for this. So the request is $10,000 from the trust account. That's essentially a grant account. It's not budget funds.
Okay. Have we had this account before? I don't remember it. Yeah.
We had a revolving Title V account that people could borrow from.
That's what this is.
I think
Okay.
we've had that for years.
Okay.
It's just a named WPAT account instead of Title V account.
And this is the maximum we're allowed to, so to speak, buffer the budget a little bit, 10,000 towards salaries.
Okay.
Chairman, I make a motion we support Article 16.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up is the zoning bylaw update. It's much needed, long awaited, and this will bring our zoning bylaws up to 2025 and modernize. This is a result of the master plan initiated this, and I'll turn the floor over to the good folks at planning.
Hi, my name is Eric Norris, member of the planning board. I have Paul and Bridget here for backup, and to keep myself honest. But really, I just want to give a quick, just a high level, what we're proposing, and then really just give you guys time for any initial questions or comments you have at this point. I know we're going to go into more depth on Tuesday, so I don't necessarily want to go in depth unless that's just where the conversation takes us. But I mean, really, the purpose, like was mentioned by the town manager, is really this is just to update for the most part what we have. Things we didn't touch in this particular update is we didn't touch the districts. We left those alone. Dimensional standards, how things are administrated, and things like that. Those are like the core things we didn't really touch. Vast majority of what we did change was really reorganization for the point of trying to make things more clear, more readable, not only just for the planning board, but also for the town and future boards, as well as any projects that come along the way, just to make it easier on everybody. But that honestly was the vast majority of work. There were some changes, like we did add some uses, like we didn't have a clear defined senior housing, or we also added recreational vehicle, temporary is actually how it was termed, just so we had a definition that we could use. And a lot of the definitions came about is because either there's just use cases that have come up in the past or things we see coming, and we just wanted to make sure they were defined and just, again, easily available. We also did things that the state or the federal kind of required us to do. We did look at things like accessory dwelling units. We did put in language for that, just so it's defined. We also did, added some other anything that would basically the state required us to do, we did. But also to add other things, we are proposing adding performance standards. That way we can have those defined, and we can use those as well as the rest of the bylaws to make prudent judgments for projects that are coming to Norton. And we didn't have this before, but we have We've added special permit conditions. We were using site plan reviews before, but now we're explicitly giving, some rules around that. So, I know I'm going a little quick, but from a high level, that's pretty much what we're proposing. Keeping the core of what's important in Norton, adding use cases where we needed, doing things required by the state, such as the ADUs, but also just trying to make a stronger, more readable document that can be used going forward. So, again, very high level view, but if there's any initial questions or comments you have now, I'm happy to try to answer them now. But again, I know we're also going into kind of a deep dive on Tuesday, so either one. If you want to wait till then, that's okay too. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Through you, Chair. I just had a quick, sort of general question.
Yeah.
When I hear things like you added the site requirements, what was it again? Site something requirements?
So we did not have before the special permit conditions by themselves.
That's what I meant.
But what we were using before was basically the site plan review conditions instead.
Right.
So that was our guiding thing, but now it's expressly spelled out.
I was going to say, I'm assuming that things like that help with enforceability as well.
Very much, yeah. Enforceability was definitely something that we were concentrating on. We're basically trying to keep the core identity of the current bylaws but also strengthening them at the same time was a large part of what we were doing. So
Yeah.
that was definitely something that we wanted to make sure happened.
That makes sense. Perfect.
Mr. Gould?
Thank you, and I just want to say that the board's been very transparent. There's a red line available online. If you just Google Norton zoning bylaw update, it'll come right up there. And I just have a question on that.
Sure.
I'm curious. I haven't gone through the 100-page document yet myself. I intend to.
180, I think now. But yeah.
180.
Not like we're counting.
Tend to. When you said the site plan conditions became the special permit conditions, did they mimic? Were they just changed as different placeholder, or are they different criteria and different conditions?
I think I'll let Paul get into it, but I believe they're pretty much the same because we're already using them, but now they're written out. But I don't know if there's anything I'm missing.
They're pretty much the same, but we added some too. There were conditions that we don't currently have that are proposed in the new bylaw. But they're coming largely from what was under site plan.
And the intent is to encourage
Better development. At the end of the day, we have more tools. We will have more tools. The board will have more tools to tell an applicant to put more amenities in, and I think they will have
more green space,
More green space.
accessibility.
absolutely yes. Oh, right. Yeah. So, we hope, our anticipation is it would be a better project than what we can currently ask for.
Mr. Kimball?
Yeah, we can talk all about this on Tuesday. I know the biggest thing I hear on the street is these major changes. I spent the morning going through 180 pages, you tell me? I guess that's what it is. I'm somewhat familiar with the booklet because I've been working with it for years, even though I never served on the planning board. But I didn't see a lot of changes in it. But what I did see was reclassification where it might move from point A to point B and fall under a different heading, which made more sense.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to encourage everyone to do is, I spoke to the town manager today, asked him that he send a copy of that to all department heads, committee heads,
Okay.
boards and committees. Send it to them, ask them to send it to their people so they can do what I did this morning. I had a chance to actually read it. I'm going to read it again, but I had a chance to read through it. And as the town manager indicated, it is now online too. So if we can go to the town website, is that where it is? Can we get it on the website?
Yes,
So
yes,
anyone
sir.
who wants to see it before town meeting,
Yeah.
it's out there. And I would encourage you all to take the time to look at it and read it, try to understand it, ask your questions. If you have questions next Tuesday, come and ask them. Let's try to get this stuff done before we get a town meeting floor. That's all.
Sounds good.
Mr. O'Neill.
Yes, so there's another component here as well, and it's the building commissioner, and we have a new one. So when a resident comes to his office and asks a particular question, he goes to the zoning bylaws. He needs to be able to navigate that and understand clearly what they're stating without conflict, without compromise, misinterpretation of the zoning bylaws. So it's for the public, but it's also for our internal use, right? On a personal note, I'm not going to bring it up here in a board meeting, but I went to to Paul and the building commissioner, and there's a conflict with a particular zoning bylaw in our own language. One says one thing, the other one says the opposite. So how does a building commissioner interpret that, and how does he provide the right information to the resident? So this is important for day-to-day management of our building activity and approvals, and not only the planning board. So
Well, it leads to legal disputes, right?
Thank
yes, yes.
And I know we're going to be talking a lot more about this on Tuesday, so I don't want you don't want to have to give your whole speech twice, so everything that you're going to do. So I know you probably have some sort of a presentation to make as well, and we'll see that on Tuesday.
Yeah, we have a presentation for Tuesday. But I mean, honestly, if you have any questions, at the very least, we can make sure we have the answer on Tuesday. So, I mean, if there's something you want to ask, please feel free.
Some of us just got this 100 and some odd pages recently, so give us some time to look it over this weekend, and we may have more questions for you when we meet again.
Nope, that sounds good.
I just also want to thank you guys for the enormous amount of time that you guys have put into the effort here. I know that redlining 180 pages is not an easy task when you're getting consensus from an entire board and then re-redlining it and revisiting and having open meetings and soliciting feedback. You guys have put a lot of time and effort into this, and I just want to say I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
And the same as well. And I was on the planning board for 4 years, and I know what can happen. And you get 7 members all with different viewpoints, and it's really sometimes you just have to take a vote, right? If you
Yeah.
split, like one,
Eventually, yeah, you
half
gotta get there.
think this thing, half think just the opposite, depending on their own personal experiences. And sometimes you just have to put it out to a vote. Okay, this bylaw, whatever. 4-3, okay, it passes, right? And sometimes it's not the one who speaks the most who should get the language in the changes is the one who. I know you're pretty quiet, Eric.
Usually, yeah.
But I would probably listen to you often
All right,
if
thank
you understand my point.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so
He was working on it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be humble.
we're going to take no action tonight
Right,
on that,
yes.
and we'll
Yep.
move on. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Good, and hopefully we'll have a good discussion on Tuesday.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
Thank you.
Mr. Town Manager.
So that pretty much covers it. Actually, we would ask to come back next time for number 18, 19, 20. We're actually looking to withdraw 21. Our accountant says no longer has that request. And number 22, we understand that there's no impetus moving 22 forward. So unless the board feels strongly, we would
I
withdraw
think so.
22
We don't have
also.
anybody requesting any of those, so.
Yep.
Okay, moving on then.
One last question on the warrant articles before
Sure.
we move on. I know that Kevin brought up at the last meeting. Is there any need or a benefit to us thinking about the order of the articles on the warrant for the meeting?
Has there been any discussion about that, Mr. Town Manager?
I understand we submitted them in the order they've been received. That's the order that KP Law reviewed them. I understand the moderator can take things out of order under Robert's rules, and I, would encourage if that's appropriate for.
So I just, I guess the the question is about the hot button issues, moving them to the top. Is that what you?
Right. So all of the budget amendments, I think, are fine at the top because they'll go through very quickly anyway, and it's good to get those out of the way. But they'll probably take 10 minutes to do articles 1 through 7. But then the ones that could be debated and have a little bit of a discussion, I think it's good to try to put those next. But it appears we may already be there. The Barrows Court, of course, and then the
The zoning bylaw, maybe.
the zoning bylaw, and then of course the tax reductions. I don't want to say
There's
abatement,
not
but-
a
Personally, I'm there for the night, so I don't really care. But I
right.
know
I'm
that
staying for the night.
There are
yeah.
people that perhaps can't.
So they can bring that up from the floor at town meeting as well if they would like to move,
Yeah, yeah.
an article to the top if they want.
I think it would be good to have articles 14 and 15 maybe further up, just personally, so that anyone who's there representing.
So the issue we run into, I'm afraid, is always that if we move them up and then they have to wait for 3 more articles before they can be reconsidered, and then they're going to be down right back where they were if they get reconsidered.
Well, it's still going to be early and earlier at night than at 14. I'm just thinking of, I mean, obviously, a disabled veteran is going to be interested in attending this town meeting.
Sure.
So I don't want them to have to be there late, personally, but
I've been attending town meetings for over 30 years, and I'm often put back by the fact that a certain interest group shows up, they deal with their question, and poof, they're gone. My feeling is I want to put all the controversial things at the very end, so that
And that way we'd have more people voting.
everyone stays there and nothing's reconsidered along the way that maybe somebody went home. Years ago, the Norton Grove voted at town meeting to approve sewerage in Norton Grove. Everybody went, hey, wait, we did a great job. Boom, off they went. Well, guess what? It was reconsidered. It was shot down. So you have to be careful about that. And as far as us old people going out and staying up after 8 o'clock, I think we can do that on certain occasions. And I think it's important that we try to get this thing spread out enough that people have an interest somewhere,
okay.
and we can keep them focused on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a variety of reasons why people can't stay for the whole thing. Sometimes
Sure.
it's kids,
Sure.
their jobs, whatever. But yeah.
And again, they can request them to be moved from the floor as well.
Yep, that's fine.
In the fall town meeting, it's less of a concern for me. This is probably easily going to be less than a 2-hour meeting. It's a spring one that can go to
I
10,
like your
11 o'clock.
optimism.
Now you did it.
I like your optimism.
Yeah, you just cursed it.
All right, don't jinx it.
We're done. Bring your cots.
Well, it starts at 7. Remember, that's a late start, right? Some of you folks that have your own private businesses, they get up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock like you and Alec.
So we're going to leave that to you, Mr. Town Manager. If you feel the need to see if we can move these
Yeah.
around, that's fine. Or if you, I'm sure that the moderator will make mention of being able to do that from the floor if they need to.
Sure, and we have a pre-meeting. We'll make sure the sound system's working, and with the moderator, the clerk, and the facility crew there.
May I ask, when you have that meeting, also with the zoning bylaw changes or recodification or whatever the description, thank you, I like that. We don't want to use the same terminology as last year. Update. That, I think we threw the baby away with the bathwater last year. There were a lot of good things, and I'm glad you went back to the table. It's probably much better now than it was even then. But we can't, like, reject all of the work that they've done. I would rather see an amendment or multiple amendments get approved, rejected, and keep 80% of the work they've done than have the whole thing shot down. So that falls on the moderator to be able to manage multiple amendments. So maybe you want to talk to him about that and try to encourage that. If it comes down to something where it's going to be debated because of 1 or 2, items, and there are 100 changes, or improvements made, let's amend it and amend those two changes out of the edits.
Someone has to bring the amendment forward, though,
Right, and then, right, somebody has to bring it forward.
Right. So our lawyer did look at this today. Initially, they're going to continue to make sure that there's no inconsistencies, but they recommended the whole thing go forward. We gave them the red line, and they said, no, you just put it forward as a complete package. If somebody moves to change something, then you address that line.
Right,
Yes, yes.
exactly.
And that's something the moderator has to manage. It can become a little complicated, what's voted on first and back and forth. I just brought it up now, when you have the discussion with him, maybe something for him to think ahead of, if this happens, how am I going to handle it? Make sense?
And if anyone knows anything, that's Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Gould.
Thank you. And if anyone knows they have anything they'd like to change, the planning board I believe they haven't finalized it. Come Tuesday, they're more than willing to listen. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that, and they've done it all along. They've had, I don't know how many, 7 public hearings about the changes. Well, I'm getting off topic,
A lot.
off the
A lot.
agenda, but a
We
lot.
may have wandered down a road.
Sorry,
here.
I know. I feel like I have to be in public record now. Bridget Carr, 113 Oak Street. We have had, I don't know, 7, 10, how many meetings we've had this year?
This year.
Yeah, on it, just
Dozens.
alone. Yeah, almost every meeting it's on our agenda. So we've had public comment, we've listened to public comment, we've taken public comment in, we've used some suggestions and implemented them into these changes as well. And I was saying we will also be presenting it as a board. Our chair and Paul had a conversation with the town moderator. So we will be there as a united front to take questions, answer questions, and we'll have all of our materials in front of us. I know there's going to be some sort of Cupid shuffle on the floor of how we get there, but we will be there. So I feel like that's important, and that's something we felt strongly about as a board to do. So yeah.
Yeah, no, like you said, we're going to have our table. We won't be up there the whole time, just long enough to get through this. But yeah, as far as like the public and stuff, yeah, it's been since even before last town meeting, but since town meeting, every single meeting we've had has had that on the agenda, and we've been very, very vocal. And honestly, we've had not a huge attendance, but who was here we listened to, and we actually did make adjustments based on the feedback we were getting. So not only from that meeting and that 3-vote rejection all the way to today, we've been asking for feedback, and we have incorporated a lot of it. It's just but we'll like I said, when we get to the table, we'll hopefully be able to have a final discussion, and we get this across the finish line.
Mr. Chairman, just to save time, if you've ever gone to town meeting, someone wants to make an amendment, they'll take the warrant and they'll start scribbling on it and all this stuff. It might be beneficial if you had an extra copy or two kicking around, so if someone wanted to make an amendment, they could.
Just have like a couple of copies available for
They could
amending.
I'm being distracted. They could take that and just make the correction on that and bring it up, instead of us waiting to see how long it's going to take to.
Sure.
Mark, I think your camera's on.
Oh. There we go. Yeah, I can talk to Paul and make sure we have that type of material ready. We can, like I said, we can have a few copies. I don't see why not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
there you go. Apologies.
Okay, town managers report.
Thank you. So Mr. Kimball covered most of the announcements. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just briefly, I submitted a 90-day transition plan. I've been working on this. I spent a lot of time on it in between preparing for town meeting. There's a lot going on in the town, a lot to be excited about. The department heads are preparing diligently for town meeting. They're doing their jobs. They're serving people. They're available to speak with residents. My priorities are here. I could make this a public document, and there's a lot of priorities. I've been meeting weekly with a key group of department heads, the chiefs, the planner, the accountant, and just getting these people in the same room and then purposefully showing up a few minutes after the meeting started, because they just interact with each other and they're finding efficiencies on their own. And I look forward to continued success and to report back after 90 days on recommendations for the board's consideration, priorities, critical priorities, and just the continuing. It's a work in progress, and very excited about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kimball?
Yeah, I have to say I've worked with a couple of administrators and I think 5 town managers now over the years. And this is the first time I've ever seen anything, a transition plan of any sort. So thank you for that and congratulations on being the first. But I think it's a great insight to what you're thinking or what you think the town should be doing. But more importantly, it's keeping everybody in the loop. And I think offering it to make it public is another opportunity for transparency, so people understand where you're coming from. But I know you've been working very hard at this. I get up early in the morning also, and I find he's up before I am, and he's up later than I am, so by some of his emails. But I know you're working very hard at this, and I really appreciate all your effort and time you put into it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, and I completely agree, and I'm looking forward to reading this in more detail. Mr. Gould, very nice job and good start to your your tenure here.
Yeah.
It's only been how long? You probably know exactly how many hours.
2 days ago, it was 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks. The time passes so quickly.
Yeah, I really appreciate the communication and transparency. It's really helpful sitting on this committee, being able to feel like I'm better informed coming into meetings. So thank you.
Thank you. Any feedback? My door's always open.
Great job.
Anything else?
I believe that's all I had.
Okay. Select Board's report and mail. Anybody have anything?
We have a letter from, if I can find it, Christopher Maki, that we might want to discuss at our next meeting. I'll talk about it now, but I want to do a little bit more research on it.
Is this the deer thing?
Yeah, he's, from my own personal opinion, is that, the poor things are being forced out of their habitat. I've got it right here. Just something I think we should take into consideration. I'm not saying we're going to go with it, but something
We'll
we probably
put that
should-
on the,
on the next agenda.
okay.
Yeah.
Only because they sent us a letter, individually sent us a letter, by the
know.
way. And then the next agenda, I've asked that I be allowed, along with my Norton Traffic Safety Committee members, to give an update on some of the projects. Some of them have kind of wavered and fallen off the screen. So
Off the radar.
Yeah, we want to get them back on again, so that's it.
And Mr. Chair, it might be a good idea on that meeting as well, to couple with that is to have the discussion around the rail trail, the memorial paved trail on e-bikes, motorized vehicles.
So I know that that's being brought before the Traffic Safety Committee, and I'm sure they'll have a recommendation for us at some point.
Okay.
And I also understand that Mansfield is going through the process right now of updating their rules and regs. So we're going to have to look at what they're doing, look at what we're doing. Somehow we're going to come together and come up with a plan.
Make sure it's consistent for
Yeah,
the
we don't
length
want
of the
somebody-
trail.
Trucking down the highway and then suddenly they can't
Right.
use it anymore,
Yeah.
One more thing I should mention, actually. I did attend earlier this week the Bristol County, I forget the whole full name of the commission, but it's basically the different counties, and I'm the representative from this town on that particular county meeting. Most of it was pretty mundane, boring votes. The two that I would mention, just because I think there could be an increase in the charges to the town Norton, is they passed, not by a full approval, but they passed budget increases for both categories of employees for 3% raises this year, 5% in the following 2 years, each of the following 2 years. So I did not support it, but unfortunately I'm outvoted, so it is what it is. But just expect some probably increases in what we get charged from that Bristol County account, whatever it's called, I don't know. But yeah, it's for the courthouses and the Bristol Aggie high school.
It's the Bristol County assessment
Yeah,
that we have to pay.
yeah,
Yeah, they have commissioners and all that stuff that we have to
yeah. So
pay for. We have to pay for the jails and all of that, so and they get paid for it.
So although Alex not here, I'm sure he'll be signing the warrants that we approved. And
I'm
I make a
waiting,
motion to end the meeting.
I'm waiting for clarification on it, so.
I was waiting for Mr. Kimball to make a motion
No,
to
I'm
approve
not
the
gonna do that.
warrants.
Oh, the warrants, sorry.
It's still my opinion that we're supposed to be doing it.
I know.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Good night.